Welcome to Happy on Purpose, a space for thoughtful conversations with people who are quietly shaping our communities, often long before anyone sees their name on a poster. I'm your host, Janess Pearson, and today's guest is someone many of you already know, whether you realize it or not. Vallerie Byrne is an event coordinator and consultant based in Enderby, BC, and the founder of North Okanagan Community Events. For the past 5 years, she's been the steady hand behind some of our most meaningful gatherings, working with the City of Enderby, the Enderby Farmers Market, and countless community partners. What makes this conversation special is that Vallerie is stepping forward in her own name. On November 15th, she hosted a launch party at the Enderby Drill Hall, not just to celebrate a new season of events, but to finally claim her own brand after years of working behind the scenes, wearing all the hats and letting other logos take the spotlight. Today, we talk about visibility, courage, community, and what happens when you stop hiding behind the work and let yourself be seen as the work. Vallerie, I'm really glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we'll just jump right into the questions because I'm getting to know you with the listeners. We have not met before, other than conversations through Messenger. So I'm excited to hear all the good things that are happening for you.
Thank you.
So you've been doing this work for a long time, but mostly under other organizations' banners. What made you realize it was time to step out from behind everyone else's branding and stand on your own?
I think it was because I was in the background trying to find my identity and
Mhm.
purpose and be living with complete humility, I guess, is what I was thinking I was trying to achieve. So I just really wanted to put my mark on the earth or leave with impact that, yeah, was in my name in the pursuit of happiness, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, just
Hmm.
stepping out and saying, no, I'm actually really good at this and
Hmm.
I can do it on my own, which is super scary.
Hmm. Yeah.
Did you find the learning curve really sharp?
Oh yeah. Yep, I definitely thought I knew everything, but taking a leap and trying to do it as your own business, you get hit with a pretty big piece of humble pie. And I think I was stuck in my old way of thinking with this narrative that was so stuck on the happiness, like relying on the outcome instead of just
Yes,
going with the flow. You can't control the future at all. Yeah. And
exactly.
less talk, more action, and just, yeah, be more present instead of trying
Yeah,
to plan so much. Yeah.
letting it happen. It's so interesting to me because even the word happiness, like if you ask most people, they'll say, what do you want the most? I just want to be happy. What do you want for your children?
Hmm.
I just want them to be happy. I want a happy relationship. But we never really stop and pause and go, okay, so what does happy mean for me? And
Hmm.
there's as many variations of that as there are people.
Yeah.
And really, when you boil it down, don't you think it's doing good work in the moment?
Yeah, 100%. Because the work I think actually comes from within. And if you're relying on the external factors to achieve it, then you're going to be hit with countless like disappointments, I suppose,
Yes.
until you are achieving it right with what's in front of you. And no matter what the outcome, you're still going to have that inner peace. It takes a lot of work.
That's the key, no
Yeah.
matter the outcome, because
Yeah.
we always think, oh, happiness and success somehow get tied together. But there's
Yeah.
happiness in doing something, even if there's what is perceived as a failure, you still
Hmm.
did something pretty cool when we
Hmm.
step out of our own way, right? And
Right.
yeah, nothing will mirror that more than stepping into your own business.
Yep.
Boy, the imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
learning curve. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to grieve some failure to get to success, but nothing exterior or materialistic has come to fruition. It's almost just I succeeded on the inside, and now I look forward to finding out where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then you get into that flow, right? Of
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
trusting your own
Trust the
intuition.
process for real instead of just saying that you are, yet you're still trying to control all the puppets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you're speaking the language of probably every listener that's ever started their own business. And
Oh, there you
because
go.
the dream is so easy. I
Hmm.
want to be in business for
Yeah.
myself, and
Yeah.
then it's like, oh wait, I'm the advertising marketer, I'm the human resources, I'm the tech guru,
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely thought I was better than I was for sure.
And that you've used the word humble a few times, and we've only just
Yeah.
started it. It is a very humbling
Hmm.
adventure.
Yeah. For sure.
Definitely. So you've described wearing all the hats. So in your information, you've been a planner, coordinator, fixer, connector, problem solver. You've kind of
Hmm.
been all the things. But
Hmm.
what did it cost someone to operate that way for years? And what does it give back? So when you were trying to do it all even for somebody else, what's the cost of operating like that when you have this vision and dream for yourself?
I think when you have such a big dream and high hopes, and then you're operating on that level, but then doing it to with so many hats, that I don't know how else to explain this, and I don't mean to harm the Boston Pizza franchise, but I have kind of been quoting it as being a Boston Pizza menu where you have so many options that look delicious, but they all actually kind of need some work
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're not focusing on some key aspects and doing it well. You're taking on so many and maybe not devoting yourself fully to any. So you have to find that balance and set a line in the sand of what you're achieving for each one within the protection of your own self-care, which they say it, but you probably don't believe it until you've created enough chaos in your own personal life, self-induced,
Yep.
that your other relationships start to fail and the relationship that you have inside you fails. And that's where I think the crucial piece is, if you're internally talking to yourself negatively, or you're underslept, underfed, overworked, all the things, then the conversations that you're having are negative, and then I think that just ripples into everything you do. Because the more I tried to put Val on a poster board, like, look what I can do, I do all of these things and this is my value, it actually just created this downhill spiral, to be honest, that I was actually going through so much. Yeah, like that turmoil gets rippled through. And so everything seemed to be not going my way. But if I would have just lived in a little more gratitude for exactly where I was at, I was achieving my goals. I am this business owner. These contracts are this. The growth probably will happen a little more naturally than when you're trying to force back to the outcomes, and then your internal peace is suffering, which ultimately now you doesn't matter what you do, you're not living happy.
Agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. It comes from that drive, that inner drive, but I do love what you said is when you're trying to do all of them at once to perfection, you are doing none of them well.
Yeah.
There has
Yeah.
to be a good enough in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got
And
to be
letting
happy with
that
just
happen.
breath. Yeah. I breathe today. We are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I put my laptop on? Yes. What's
Yeah.
one right step forward?
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I think you just spoke the language of every person that's tried to start something new. And then how do you manage it for yourself when all of that doubt and the chaos creeps in? What are your go-tos?
Well, to be honest, I think I've lived in a dream world for my for most of my adult life, or at least a world to which I created enough self-induced chaos, or the life of a different lifestyle where it's not focused on health and self-care and recovery from previous pain and maybe a life of partying. I think we're all pretty used to that
Yep.
the young, determined go-getter has a certain energy of eventually the body is going to run out of that natural physical energy.
Yeah,
Yes.
somewhere
So
around 30.
yeah, and then not hiding from feelings, but actually riding them to learn for the first time, and being able to be self-aware and not beat yourself up too much to get beyond the failure, to use it as a learning lesson and not let you take it down. But I can tell you it's taken as much time to get over the soul, like the grieving of the failure has taken as many months as work as it's taken to get into it. Like I haven't really been able to get back on my feet 100% and relaunch, because I have to pivot and re-identify, and ultimately I have to take this next year and be who I am, the contracts that I have, what I'm already doing, and just live what I was saying. Instead of saying it, I am it. Just do it.
Embody it.
Embody
Embody it.
it. So that's kind of where I'm at. There's no look for expansion, there's no look for partners. It's kind of like pivoting, starting over, doing exactly what I was doing with the brain set of everything without chasing it.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
I feel like that's a very wise way of approaching it. The ideas tend to come when we're not in that stressed out, frantic, frenetic state.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear that, maybe you started one way, but being brave enough, because it takes a tremendous amount of courage to go,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I didn't start right. I need to restart or
Mm-hmm.
redo or
Mm-hmm.
rebrand, like you said, pivot
Mm-hmm.
without completely destroying what you built. But
Yeah.
there is no perfect way to start.
Mm-hmm.
Just have to start.
Yeah. And my track record is to do it the hardest way possible first. Be
You're my kind of person. I
be a
relate.
complete dumbass and then figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just
Yeah.
try really hard not to
Yeah.
mess it up the second
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to get a little more into what your work is. But so there was a subtle but important shift from, and if this is no longer where you're heading, feel free to pivot the
Yep.
question. But there's a subtle but important shift from event coordinator to event consultant. So how do you make that distinction, and what was the evolution in your work?
So it was the distinction that I made by going too fast and talking too much that kind of led to the failure and the pivot, to be completely honest. As I started to have more self-confidence in what I was capable of, different scenarios were teaching me that my unique style, maybe not approved by everyone, created amazing results. And taking some of those original pieces of everything I was trying to, because when I got these contracts, I had spent 18 months on mat leave with my daughter, dissecting my personality, working on my character flaws, and trying to figure out what I would do if I was self-employed, because I would wanted to get out of my 15, 25 years plus in retail corporate management,
Mm,
because we had moved out to Enderby. And so I I got these jobs because I had a mission to be a community, collaborative, family focused, fun something, and it
yeah.
was driven on happiness and connection, and the thought of human permaculture and how we're all needed and have our niches, and the ecosystem that would be this community collaborative that I envisioned in dream world I would create. And so as I started trying to implement some of those more ideas confidently, but still under other people's hats, because when I got my jobs, I did what I wanted to do, but not as Vallerie and that business model. It was not my business. I was hired from the City of Enderby. And so I became the City of Enderby.
Mm,
My style, my playbooks, everything I did for them, they had never had an event coordinator before. So they were actually taking playbooks from the Chamber of Commerce that had been dissolved in Enderby. And due
mm,
to COVID, these events were no longer being held. So the City of Enderby took on that and created the revenue from the campground required to contract me out. So that being said, when I started realizing that, it's one thing to accomplish a playbook or a checklist with a really strong team that knows what they want. So at 11 o'clock you're doing this, at 12 o'clock you're doing this, these people there, and you complete a checklist. Entry level event coordination, just manage the playbook. But when you start sitting there and you now have a hand in the entire business community, and people are coming to you to make huge decisions, and you're sitting there in strategy and planning for hours at a time, when all of the playbooks are already created and growth is happening like this, but for me everything was stagnant.
Mm,
And yet I'm evolving you. Like, I'm really sitting down with you and putting my creativity to work, continue to achieve improved results, better relationships. But that extra piece after the checklists were created was never really identified. And that's where
mhm,
my value is being lost, because it's like my time now for my creativity and uniqueness and that difference that I can bring to the continued growth, if not already part of the initial contract, I guess, is where the consultation part, because that's why you hire me. That's my specialty, is unique. So
mm.
it's like giving away my butterflies, or how, I don't know.
Yeah.
Started to feel, and people, I'm sorry, the world is not everybody's a servant by nature. Like, by nature, it's just in my instincts to think of other people first and put myself to the side, and people will take it and more, and they're not going to take my happiness anymore. But it had to start with me. I couldn't control the external factors, and I think that's what I was trying to do. So now I have to be my playbook, the one that I wrote, that was Vallerie on Mallory. I lived on Mallory Road, so I wanted to be
Mm.
Vallerie on Mallory so bad.
Love
So
it.
I wrote a whole entire business plan on being Vallerie on Mallory, which included most of the stuff that I'm doing, but also an event space and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so now I
Yeah,
just really want to try living it this year instead of talking about it. I am it. Just
you
like,
are it.
shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing.
Yeah, like, stop telling everybody you're going to do it. You are doing it. Just,
Yes.
yeah. But also a fine line when people call me, it's like, okay, I'll give you the 20-minute free consultation. But if you want me furtherly to help with whatever it is that most people call me about these days, from a professional standpoint,
Hmm.
that has to be identified. And the reason why I created North Okanagan Community Events, but failed with the launch and my approach and all of the things, and hence why I'm not going to be leading with that.
Mm,
I am it. These are contracts hired by the company, right? It's just I need to kind of do my market analysis in silence now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't see it as a failure. Like it was a learning, right?
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
the idea of failure, I mean, you've learned so much from it already. So
Hmm.
what was the parameters of failure? Well, you didn't fail. It just
Yes.
didn't get executed perhaps the way you had envisioned.
Well, yes, because there was one small piece of my business plan that didn't come to fruition. People wouldn't have known it about me.
Mm,
And that was the community fundraiser piece. And I always wanted to be like, Vallerie and Mallory was the community fundraiser. So it was events tied to multi charity money raising. So pretty much when the businesses worked with the nonprofits, which worked with the community, it should be a win 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 for everybody,
yes.
and implementing those ideas. And it was the most forward facing on everything I marketed, I suppose, which led my town to complete mass destruction of confusion, because they all thought that I was a full-time employee of the City of Enderby, which I feel like that's totally valid in what I was trying to clarify. But I clarified it with things they didn't know about me instead of just being me, and
Mm,
just maybe, keeping it super simple, stupid, like that might have been better. And I could have implemented the community fundraising ideas naturally in the contracts that I already have as an event consultant coordinator for the people I already work for at under North Okanagan Community Events, right? Like, if you
right.
think about it, it's really wouldn't have, it's not that hard to but I, yeah.
It's easy to say in hindsight.
Yeah, in
So
hindsight.
easy to say in
Exactly. In
hindsight.
hindsight.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what, just for the listeners, give us a little snapshot of what somebody would call you for. What are you hoping in this year? What services can you provide? Who would be sort of your ideal client, or where's your niche heading now?
I feel like my ideal client is a little bit twofold because I feel my unique style is a little bit hybrid.
Okay.
So, because of the community relationship building piece tied with project management, from a huge operational background, now with additional coordination, which when you're a coordinator or consultant, you are nobody's boss. You are
Right.
coordinating a bunch of bosses. It makes a big difference. You cannot just tell them you say jump, they say how high in a world where we're not even allowed to say that anymore because
Mhm.
of the way we have to manage, if you know what I mean. It oh, like I can take on consulting on a whole nother level because from a business, not that I would be in a business advisor, but due to the relationship building piece, there's a coordination that I can help you with whatever results you're trying to achieve. I can use my unique adaptability or like strategizing brain because of the relationships I have. So I know everybody so much better to
Mm,
link you with the right person in my ecosystem of community per se,
right.
because whether you need business increase or like like the connector, the nucleus of the cell
Yeah.
for if the cell was the community. So
Yeah.
depending if you're a nonprofit needing money, and I work very closely with my roles with the good food box, like yeah, I just kind of am in tune with what the needs are from the community to the nonprofit to the business. So the
Right.
whole town in ideal could benefit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's exciting because when you start to see it as more than just self, right? Which is, yeah, I'm
Hmm.
really feeling you've got that community mindset. You really
Hmm.
want this to be an Enderby
Yeah.
benefit.
Yes. And it was a movement. It was kind of a movement towards solution focused collaboration, that we would treat people like friends and family and reconnect and do business in a way that was structured and contractual and precise with high standards of product management, with uber high values in kindness, appreciation, like all the key things that are missing. So in my mind, it was a no-brainer. Like, who wouldn't want to work with me? I achieve everything. But yeah.
And managing burnout, because that sounds like a recipe for burnout. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
your approach obviously blends your professionalism, and you've got some pretty high standards for yourself, it sounds like, but with joy as well. Not as a fluffy, feel good, whatever, but with intention. And I really appreciate that. It sounds like now moving forward, you're a little clearer, some humility, some pivot,
Hmm.
some change. But what do you think fun, connection, and creativity actually, where they actually matter more than ever in community spaces right now? Like you kind of touched on that in the last question, just saying, we need that more in our world. We definitely need that more humanistic touch to
Hmm.
things, especially in an age of AI, voiceovers, all the rest of it,
Hmm.
right? So, why does that matter more than ever in community spaces right now, in your opinion?
So, in my opinion, why that mattered more than ever is the more and more the years go by, the worse and worse it gets, I feel, for a family to even be able to put their phone in a bowl for an hour dinner, never mind a whole evening. And watching my children go through the modern school system, and
Yeah.
it's really, really challenging. And for my son, letting the world of electronics and YouTube shorts and all of these things
With reels, yeah.
take over him at such an early age. It is so scary how I have a very challenging time, even with him and kids. And this even relates to adults too, but
Yeah.
being able to just have fun, like the good hearted fun without like the leg twitching for some artificial stimulation of
Yeah.
sorts. And then even in the way that we interact in the adult world professionally, we're not yeah, we're barely calling people back on the phone. If it's not written, we can't do it. When I work with my volunteers, that are younger that help out with community events from the high school, if I have them do anything too public facing, I've had multiple tell me that, if this would have been a couple years ago, because of my social anxiety, I would have never been able to, because these children are raised so with a lack of socialization or interaction with others. It just kind of scares me. And I've always been like, fun is a number one, like one of the number one values I have. And when I changed my lifestyle from my fun being that go-getter, I'll sleep when I'm dead, work
Yeah.
hard, play hard kind of person, and that ran at 180, to having a life where I find happiness through peace and like a calm type of aura about the way I carry myself, but I still want to have fun. It's hard to have fun. I cannot find things to do usually that throughout the week where I could just go have some good, wholehearted fun. Never mind even friends that do anything anymore. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
me, but
No, no, you're definitely not. I know that this will be resonating for a lot of people. Even from the grandparents trying to figure out how to engage with grandchildren, or,
hmm
even the older children. My children are all in their 20s, and we definitely were put away the social media because
hmm
being in the background that I have. But what it's been labeled is social snacking. We've got all these little bits of snacks, and we know snacks aren't healthy. You're snacking
hmm
on Snapchat, you're snacking on Facebook, you're
hmm
snacking the reels, and the attention span is going. And in the counseling world, I mean, social anxiety is right up there with probably one of the biggest things our youth are dealing with. And
hmm
I feel you're absolutely right, because it's very easy to be behind a screen.
hmm
It's easier for the younger generation to talk into a screen and send it than to have
hmm
to have that reciprocity of conversation.
Right. And I'm finding a lot with my back to the adults. It is so hard for adults to hear something to their face. They have no problem saying whatever they want to say, whatever opinion they have. They can talk all they want. But if that person or situation is right in front of them, face to face, the level of what's able to be said now is
Yeah,
shocking.
yeah, yeah. There's definitely well, people are just really easily insulted or very easily in. I'm
Yeah,
being really careful with my
me
wording,
too. Me too.
but I think
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and
We
just like
definitely,
honest conversations, raw, honest conversations face to face is a value. So if in working with me business wise, if we're, valuing the values of happiness and togetherness and family and all of these fluffy things that seem
yeah,
fluffy but are high standards, then we need to still be able to somehow have hard conversations that need like contractual agreements between us to maintain everybody's,
yeah, and not
yeah,
be offended when
and
we
not be offended,
disagree.
right?
When we
Yeah.
disagree, like whatever happened to good old-fashioned debate, where
Right?
you could literally have differing
Yeah.
opinions. And out of a
Yeah.
good debate, sometimes somebody goes, I never thought of it that way.
Right?
But
You can learn.
we can learn. We can learn.
Yeah.
Not too old to learn.
Yeah.
So you bring all of that into your consulting, and I think that that's a very fresh approach for sure.
So I was already doing it. It showed success, but when putting value on it and trying to find a way to be paid for it, that's the major curveball, interesting, yeah, evolution of how it all played out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So many things buzzing in my head right now that I want to say. Oh, we got to stay on track. I got to keep
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
We kind of, again, I keep saying this, we kind of touched on it, but when we're talking about sustainability moving forward for your events and organization and for yourself, because burnout, as we talked about,
hmm
can be so high, what are you doing now differently? Like you talked about self-care, etc., but what is your sort of routine, or how do you keep yourself grounded and focused and well?
Yes. So I've prioritize, like I said, self-care in my mornings and really getting a grip on reeling in everything to one day and setting my day with intention for the day and releasing the outcome from going to affect where I how I feel for the best I can, right? I mean, it's challenging, you still get angry, but I've actually been turning down job opportunities to stay exactly with the positions that I have and open up comfortable breathing room to maintain my personal life, but use this in the background as still business development because I will still be, trying to initiate being Vallerie.
Yeah.
But I'm just not I'm literally doing less. To Cole's Note version, doing absolutely nothing more,
Yeah.
only less.
Efficiency over product
Yes,
movement,
and I will
right?
not take on anything more until I've completely dialed down creating the most efficiency out of the processes I already have. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
getting more clarity, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
finding that elusive work-life balance that when you work for
Mm-hmm.
yourself seems non-existent at times.
Yeah.
And there is a feeling, I think, sometimes that you can't say no when you work for yourself. But yes, yes, in fact, you can. Going back to
Mm-hmm.
what you said earlier, if you take on too much, you're no good at any of it.
Yeah.
Then that's your what people are seeing, right? So you want to be
Mm-hmm.
doing your best work and even
Mm-hmm.
maybe getting paid a little more for your best work than
Mm-hmm.
accepting less than for lots of
Exact
stuff.
right. With how much time I spent exhausting and creating my own chaos, I'm pretty sure I'll be flatlining with a lot more peace at least. Yeah.
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 And I mean that happiness part comes from inside too.
Mhm.
The doing is always very fulfilling. And I hear this as legacy work. You want to leave
Mhm.
some mark in the world and you've got a
Mhm.
child that's looking up to you, like what's mom doing? And we
Mhm.
need that. But at the end of the day, if we're not content in on the inside, there is no peace when then there is no happiness. Like,
Yeah.
and you said it earlier too, you take that out into the world and you may
Mhm.
be short with somebody and snap at somebody or
Mhm.
whatever. It's that
Mhm.
it's that carry out of how we show up in the world
Mhm.
is based on our
Yeah.
practices, right?
Right.
Whatever they are.
Yeah.
Self-care doesn't have to be a bubble bath. It can literally be shut everything off and sit quietly for
Mhm.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Who does
Yeah.
that anymore?
Yeah. I try to.
Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
definitely hard.
Mhm.
So this might be a personal question, so you answer it if you want, but what does it feel to finally say, this is my work and this is my name attached to this work?
It feels good,
Yes,
very good, obviously. I'm trying to find a word to describe no longer in suffering over the failure. It's not a failure. So, I'm even more proud to step back out after the bravery of not giving up.
good stuff.
Yes, and I also went from hiding a lot of who I was for years and keeping my personal life completely separate from the community to wanting to be yearning for a community and belonging so bad that I cut myself open to
Mhm.
maybe to wounds unnecessary as well. Also a boundary I had to learn to how much you let people in, like you want, but again with the right intention, not just wanting to get your name on a poster board, look at me, but through real compassion, if that makes sense, not
It
judging.
totally
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it really does. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense for
Just get
sure.
rid of ego. I didn't really know what ego meant until when I went through this last transition. So my name without the outcome expectation, without the ego, with real compassion, with proper intention, wouldn't have been possible without doing it with ego, with wrong intention for the need of the outcome and clinging on to old ways of thinking. I mean, you have to be able to change
Oh,
life. Yeah.
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 So this I didn't prepare you with any questions like this, but
Okay.
who do you listen to? Like, who would you say is a mentor, whether they're alive, personal, or a book or somebody? Because you speak a lot of the same language as I tend to use.
Oh,
You're quite a bit younger than I am, but I'm just
yeah.
curious, what do you listen to? What's your go-tos?
Well, I will be a little honest then. So I went into a lifestyle of recovery in January of 2024, post years of partying and all of the separation and anguish we all go through. So it's not
Oh,
an excuse. I just I needed to re-identify who I was altogether. So I was trying everything and anything that was different than what I was doing. So I
yeah.
had researched every self-help thing, everything they talk about in, the meetings, AK recovery rooms, whether it's AA, CA, NA, or Al-Anon, it's still a 12-step recovery program and that way of living. And then Christianity and being raised Catholic through my foster mom and being in and out of different systems growing up, and then people talking about like past traumas and how much I used to judge that. Like I had very no empathy. It was like, buck it up, suck it up, sister. Like somebody else has
Yes.
it worse. So I was always in a survival mode, but never feeling.
Mm,
So in the last year and a half, a year and a, it's just been a lot of work. But most recently, it has been the teachings of Buddhism that have helped
mhm.
me finally get out of my head to a certain degree and start the processes of it finally clicked. Nothing was really clicking, right? I'm like, somebody, no, this isn't working. Talk therapy's not working. Addiction counseling's not working. Nothing was really doing it for me. But the minute that I heard something I unexpectedly tried, like I'm sorry, I unexpectedly fell upon it. I wasn't trying to
Yeah.
listen to it. It just fell into my lap and I sat there for an hour and a half and now I haven't stopped. And
I love it. I
yeah.
was wondering because I am definitely of the Buddhist philosophy as
Okay.
well. So I'm like,
Okay.
I'm not going to plant the seed, but I am very curious, and it's interesting because the first noble truth is life is suffering.
Yeah, and
Once you get
I'm
past that, it's like, oh, okay,
okay, right?
well, there it is. We're
Yeah, and
just
I
going to
can
feel out of it.
use those teachings to put myself back into the room, even in the hardest times where nothing else seemed to be able to do that, which I got to just be happy with whatever helped it click. And now
Yeah.
I don't want to let that go, I guess. Just keep up the good work.
Yeah. Why let it go? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Or
always
let it
this
all
flip up.
go.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, right? Let it go. Yeah.
Namaste. Namaste.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, sorry, I threw you a curveball with
No,
that one,
that's okay.
but I love it. I also, my family, so my adoptive family, we were very much in the AA, Alateen, Al-Anon. My mom spoke for Al-Anon. She hosted Alateen. My dad
Oh,
was
yes.
a recovering
Mm-hmm.
alcoholic when I turned 8, so it wasn't a huge part of my life, the
Mm-hmm.
addiction, but I mean, the meetings were in my living room. I was getting carted off to Alateens
And
because I
there you
had to just
go.
be with my mom because I was too young. So I
Yeah.
grew up with the big book and,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And
Yeah.
then still had to do my own work. And like you say,
Mm-hmm.
the 20s are not for the faint of heart. And
Mm-hmm.
for some of us, those bad coping strategies roll into the 30s, that roll
Well,
into
it's the
the
coping
40s.
strategies I didn't realize I was so much addicted to until making bad decisions that didn't help my happiness sober, right? You almost
Totally.
have to relearn. I mean, if you've been defective, I suppose, since childhood, then I don't know. Yeah.
We won't say defective. You just had a different start, right? We
Yeah.
we had to learn, like Gabor Mate says, right? You have to learn
Hmm.
why. You have to understand the why
Hmm.
you're choosing this pain. And
Hmm.
most people, there is that tipping point of that realization when they enter into recovery of like,
Hmm.
I can't, that life is unmanageable, right? I
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
cannot continue this way
Yeah. Yeah.
anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can do that if you don't do the work. Completely capable of doing that without a substance at all. because of just your old way of thinking. That really does need to be the work needs to happen, bottom line. You
Yeah,
can't not. Yeah.
I agree. And gentle on self, because those that do use coping, whether it's shopping or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
things that are unhealthy coping strategies, whether they tend to morph into addiction or not. But you we you fall behind a little with your emotional maturity and your emotional intelligence. So I think
Yeah.
that's why when we finally clear away the fog, there's just so much more work to do because we
Mhm.
didn't learn yet. We haven't,
Yeah.
there has to be so much grace for ourselves,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
radical compassion for
Hmm.
self.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I don't think I had yet faced that radical compassion that was required for self because I was still chasing or craving everything else that didn't have yet or whatever.
Any distraction.
Any
Yeah,
distraction, yeah.
yeah, just make it look like I'm really heading in a good way fast.
Fast, yeah,
Yeah. And then you
exactly.
slow down and go, oh,
Oh, yeah.
to be with ourselves. I think during COVID, a lot of people learned how hard it is to be with self,
Hmm.
right? Which is why I think we're seeing this carryover of like sort of that COVID fog of not what you just had explained earlier,
Hmm.
not knowing how to
Hmm.
engage.
Yeah.
Just don't know how. Yeah, we've
Mhm.
got a lot of work to do, Valerie. We have a lot of work to do
Yes, we
in
do.
our society.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I can't believe it, but we have effectively used up our time, and
Awesome.
there's just so much more that I could talk to you with, and I just know the listeners are gonna get something out of it. So to
Oh, that's
wrap up,
awesome.
how would you like if somebody is thinking about wanting your services? What is the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, we can phone call on my phone number. Do you want me to say it out loud or you have it?
That is up to you if you want it broadcast.
Yeah.
Do you have an
Yeah.
email? Maybe
y-
email is easier.
Yes. Yeah. Email's good.
Okay, so you go ahead and say your email.
Okay, so my email is VallerieByrne@gmail.com. So that's my full name. And should I spell it out now? Because it's
Yeah,
long.
you go right
Okay.
ahead because we're
V.
we're on air. This will be on the
Okay.
radio.
Okay. So VallerieByrne, Valerie Byrne at
Yeah,
gmail.com.
at gmail.com. I
Yeah.
think it's important because Burn doesn't, people are going to do
Yeah.
Burn instead of
And yeah, and
Byrn.
even when you spell it, they still put the R before the Y. It's weird.
Yeah,
Everybody does it. Yeah.
everybody does it. Well, for YouTube and for social media, we will have it in the link in the
Okay.
notes, but on the radio, it's always good to just have it.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
they can email you and have that one-on-one personal conversation.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, Valerie, thank you, not
Thank you.
just for your events that you create, but for the care, coordination, and heart that you're bringing to the community. I
Thank
get
you.
a real sense that you are a community-focused gal. And what
Aw.
I appreciate most that you remind us that joy doesn't happen by accident. You've been saying that over and over, that it is an intention. So thank you for that message.
Thank you.
This has been Happy on Purpose at Valley FM 97.9. And until next time, keep choosing what lights you up and supports the place you call home.